Welcome back to Ganit Notes. The topic for today's discussion is least common denominator. This can also be written as LCD. So, the topics that we are going to discuss in this particular item, that is least common denominator, are as follows. What are the contents? First one, we will have a quick recap of what are fractions. Then we will move on to see what is LCD or the least common denominator. Where are this LCD being applied in day-to-day life, and couple of examples related to that. So, I hope all of you have gone through my previous videos that I have posted. In case if you have not got a chance to go through it, please do go through it. Let me know your feedback. In case if you have any questions or you need clarity on any of the topic that I have discussed earlier, please let me know. I'll surely reply. So the previous video that I had posted is related to fractions. So we need to know what are fractions in order to tell the concept of LCD, least common denominator. So I'll just have a quick recap of what are fractions just to move on with this topic. So this is a recap. What are actually fractions? The numbers that can be expressed in the form P by Q, where both P and Q are integers, are referred to as fraction. So as we know, we have a top part P, which is called the numerator, and the bottom part Q, which is called the denominator. So as we know, we cannot divide any number by 0. As division by 0 is invalid, Q can never be 0. So P by Q, which is a fraction, can actually be represented as numerator denoted by denominator. Okay, so we'll move on to the topic for today's discussion, LCD, which is least common denominator. As the name suggests, it is a least denominator value which is common to a set of fractions that is in question. So if you are given with a set of fractions, for example, if you are given two fractions, and if you have to find out the LCD for those two fractions, then you are asked to find out a denominator which is common to both the fractions. That particular value is termed as LCD or least common denominator. So as the name suggests, LCD is also known as common denominator because it is a common denominator for the set of fractions which are in question. So where are these LCD applied in day-to-day life? Think about adding fractions. If you are given two fractions to be added, then as we have discussed in our previous video, you need the denominator of both the fractions to be common if you want to add those two fractions. So in case if both the fractions are not having an identical denominator, then comes the concept of LCD. You have to find an LCD and then proceed with this addition. So similar is the case of subtraction of fractions. And if you want to compare two fractions or three fractions that are given, and if you want to order them in ascending order or descending order, then comes the concept of LCD. So let's discuss all these in detail. I'll just go through a couple of examples to make you more understand the concept of the usage of LCD. So the first example, let's go through the first usage, that is addition of fractions. The question that I have right now is it possible to add two fractions, 2 by 3 and 4 by 5? So as per my previous video that I had posted on fractions, if you need to add 2 by 3 and 4 by 5, then you need to have the same denominator for both the fractions. See what are the denominators. Here it is 3 and 5 respectively for 2 by 3 and 4 by 5. 3 and 5 are different. So 3 and 5 are different. So we cannot actually add. What you have to do is you have to find a common denominator in this case. So it is possible to add 2 by 3 and 4 by 5. So how do we add 2 by 3 and 4 by 5. First, the process is you have to find out the LCD or least common denominator of 3 and 5. Okay. So I have just listed down couple of steps to make you understand more on how to find out the LCD. Keep watching my video till the end because I have some quick tips for you how to find out the LCD instead of going this step by step procedure if you have understood this particular topic. Okay, so stay tuned. First, you have to find out the multiples of 3 and 5 and you are going to make out a tabular format having the multiples of 3 and 5. So, let's go through 3. What are the multiples of 3? As per this tabular format that I have listed, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and I have listed down all the multiples of 3 till 3 into 10. Okay. So similarly, I have listed down the multiples of 5. 5 into 1 is 5, 5 into 2 is 10, so on till 5 into 10 is 50. So just by seeing, find out the element or find out the number which is common to both 3 and 5 in this table. Okay. So if you have a quick scan of what is there for the multiple of 3, you see 15 over here, and if you see multiples of 5, you have 15 over here. This is the smallest number which is common between both 3 and 5. So which means that LCD or least common denominator of 3 and 5 is 15. Now you will have to convert both the fractions 2 by 3 and 4 by 5 which is in question into the equivalent fractions with their respective denominators as 15 which is the LCD. So how do you convert 2 by 3 with an equivalent fraction having the denominator as 15? You have to multiply 3 by 5 to get 15. So you will also have to multiply the numerator 2 by 5 to get 10. So the equivalent fraction of 2 by 3 is 10 by 15. On similar lines, the equivalent fraction of 4 by 5 is 12 by 15. Hope this is clear for everyone. Now, both the fractions have the same denominator. So, you just have to multiply these fractions. So, 2 by 3 plus 4 by 5 is the equivalent fraction 10 by 15 plus the equivalent fraction 12 by 15 which is equal to 10 plus 12 divided by 15 which is 22 by 15 which is the required answer. So we can add 2 by 3 and 4 by 5 which have different denominators by finding out the LCD and finding out the equivalent fraction, and the required answer for adding up both these fractions is 22 by 15. Okay. So let's move on to an example of subtraction. So the question is it possible to subtract 4 by 5 from 2 by 3? Yes or no? The answer is yes. So how do we subtract? First, you will have to find out the LCD of 3 and 5. So from the first fraction, you have 5 as the denominator. From the second fraction, you have 3 as the denominator. So if you want to subtract 4 by 5 from 2 by 3, then you need both the denominators of these fractions same, or else you cannot subtract. So you will have to find out the LCD of 3 and 5 first. Okay. So now comes the table. I have listed down all the multiples of 3 and all the multiples of 5 till a particular point. So by seeing this particular table, we can know that 15 is the least value that is common to both 3 and 5. So which means that LCD of 3 and 5 is 15. So now the next step is you have to find out the equivalent fractions for each of these given fractions, 2 by 3 and 4 by 5. So how do you convert 2 by 3 into an equivalent fraction having 15 as the denominator? You have to multiply by 5, and you also have to multiply the numerator 2 by 5 so that this particular fraction is not changed. So the equivalent fraction is 10 by 15 for 2 by 3. So on similar lines, the equivalent fraction for 4 by 5 is 12 by 15. So now you can easily subtract 2 by 3 minus 4 by 5 is equal to, what is the equivalent fraction of 2 by 3? It is 10 by 15 minus, what is the equivalent fraction of 4 by 5? It is 12 by 15. So you have the same denominators. So you just have to subtract the numerators, which is 10 minus 12 divided by 15, which is equal to minus 2 divided by 15, which is the required answer for the subtraction of the fractions which is in question. Okay. Next, let's go through an example of ordering of fractions. So the question is, you are given 3 fractions, 3 by 5, 9 by 20 and 4 by 6, all of which have different denominators, and you are asked to put them in ascending order. Okay. So in this case also, you have to find out the LCD or least common denominator. So now you have 3 numbers. The first fraction has the denominator 5, the second fraction has the denominator 20, and the third fraction has the denominator 6. So now comes the table with all these 3 values, 5, 20 and 6 I have listed down, and I am going to find out the multiples of these numbers till a particular point. So the multiples of 5 are listed in the first row, the multiples of 20 are listed in the second row, and the multiples of 6 are listed in the third row. So let's see what is the value that's common between the multiples of 5, multiples of 20 and multiples of 6. Okay, so I find a 60 in 5, I find a 60 in the multiples of 20, and I find a 60 in multiples of 6. Apart from 60, I don't see any value that is the smallest value which is common to all the 3 values. So which means that the LCD or least common denominator of 5, 20 and 6 is 60. Okay. So now you have to find out the equivalent fraction. If you want to compare a particular fraction, given 3 fractions in question, then at least the denominator should be same, so that you can just see the numerators and compare them in ascending or descending order. So now the question is, you have to find out the equivalent fraction for each of these fractions correspondingly. So on similar lines that we have discussed earlier, you have to find out the equivalent fraction of 3 by 5, which is 36 by 60 when you multiply by 12, and 9 by 20 can be equivalently written as 27 by 60, and 4 by 6 can be equivalently written as 40 by 60. So all these 3 fractions have their corresponding equivalent fractions with 60 as the same common denominator. Now you can just check for the numerator values. It is 36, 27 and 40. So which is the smallest one? It is 27. So 9 by 20 is the smallest value. Then comes 36 by 60, which has the corresponding fraction 3 by 5, and then comes 40 by 60, which has the corresponding fraction 4 by 6. So now the ascending order is 9 by 20, 3 by 5 and 4 by 6 respectively. If you want to have it in descending order, you are free to do it, no issues. This is a quick tip that I was talking to you about. So instead of finding out the multiples of all the given numbers, the denominators of the fraction in the table, finding out the common value which is least common to all the given numbers, it consumes a lot of time. So the simplest way to find out the LCD is to find out the LCM, which is the least common multiple of all the denominators of the given fractions which are in question. Okay, so I'm going to post a video on LCM soon. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you. And if you have any questions, let me know. Please feel free to use the comment section, and if you have any questions, please post it over there. I'll check and reply. Also, please subscribe for the promotion of the channel if you have liked my channel. And also please press on the bell button so that you keep getting the videos frequently.